I believe that social media, when we market social media to teens and to tweens, because they grew up with the media around them. I got my first computer when I was in grade 8, and the big box thing that was so heavy and it could word process. I had to adapt, right? Whereas kids today don't. Like when Twitter came out, that was something where that was fun and new and cool for kids. And a lot of high school kids are actually using Twitter now versus Facebook, but they still keep their Facebook accounts because they don't want to miss out on anything, right? Everybody is consuming media, whether it's watching the news or listening to the news or checking your email on your phone or on your laptop. So it's this idea that we are never going to be able to completely censor the media because it is ubiquitous. But I think it's keeping up with the demands of what I want to say society, but it's marketing and it's media who is telling us that we need to focus on our social lives.
Well, I have mixed views on social media. I think that there are places where it's really helpful.
I guess I don't think it's a necessary product for society, but I enjoy social media. I use it, and I think that it's really helpful for communicating with people.
I do use it. I won't say a lot, but I do use it.
I think that, things like Facebook and Pinterest and Twitter, all those things are really fun to connect, especially like with celebrities and like higher end media and all that stuff. I think it's good. I enjoy it.
I'm thinking of, what happened in Tehran and Tahrir Square and me getting the word out there really made a difference. It empowered people.
I think we're using it way too much, and I think it is the realm of the lazy and the dishonest, so I don't use it.
It can appear like that, and it may not be the fact, but I do see it being used a lot. You have people on their phones everywhere, from riding the bus to walking down the street.
I do have Facebook, and I do go on occasionally, but I don't have Twitter, I don't have a smartphone, so I'm missing out on Instagram.
The social media I use the most is Instagram. I use Instagram.
Most I use Instagram. I kind of like how simple it is and how you can just post pictures on it.
Most of the time I'm just looking at other people's pictures and what they're doing.
No, it was more of a suggestion to get, yourself out there so people recognize you when you go to conferences, for instance. I noticed that when I went to a conference, they introduced me by a nickname that I had on Facebook.
It's frequent and it's there. We've got Wi-Fi in all of the fast food restaurants and in coffee shops. We've got Wi-Fi in our schools now. It's getting to the point that even with adults and with teens and with tweens and with children, we're having difficulty unplugging. 91% of teens take selfies and post them. Almost 100% of our kids are doing this, and I beg the question, why? Why are you doing this? Is it to boast? Is it to share? Is it genuine? Is it to get attention? Is it to be noticed? Is it for somebody else, or is it for you?
Like when you take a selfie, it's putting a lot of attention just on you as a person.
It's when you take a picture of yourself.
Basically using your device to take a picture of yourself.
Some people like that attention, or some people are craving that attention from other people, and sometimes the amount of likes you get is kind of like how you would judge your self-worth.
To be honest, I'm not exactly sure why people take selfies.
I think for me it has a lot to do with self-esteem.
Younger people, from my perspective, use selfies more to create an image. I've seen, several pictures, let's say, of my daughters or my daughter's friends, where they use selfies more as part of the persona that they're presenting on the outside.
I think it's a way for them to stay connected and feel like they're a part of everything that's going on. I think a lot of it is everybody's taking selfies, so other people are taking selfies.
But, it just seems like it's not all about you, or it's not all about me. And where's the us? And the us gets lost in all of that.
Kids know there's a gap. We approach technology very different. Adults would approach technology as a way to get things done at a quicker pace, to connect, yes, but it's a practical approach, whereas kids view the media and technology as a lifeline. And I think that we as adults have to be okay with that.
I know when I was younger, you would have blocks or people who came into your life and they were in blocks of time. Whereas now children, students don't need to do that, kids don't need to do that. They're able to maintain friendships with people that have come into their lives throughout their generation. I see with my children that they're able to keep that continuity of friendship through social media.
It's their rite of passage. And just like When I grew up, we went to the mall, and that's where we hung out. Kids now, their mall is in the home. But just like I had rules like telling my parents where I was going and who I was going with and how long I was staying, we should still have those rules just because the media is in our home.
I'm very thankful that social media didn't exist when I was in high school. I see obsessions over constantly checking your status and self-promotion and that type of activity. Certainly, I personally think that there's some problems with introducing it too young. I mean, Facebook, for instance, has said that you need to be a minimum of 13 years old to use it. We know that a lot of people lie about their age so that they can have profiles at a younger age and that their family members are fine with that.
When my children first started on Facebook or whatever, I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be able to see what they were doing. The computers in that room there, which is, close proximity. The door was always open. We always knew what was going on. We only had the one computer.
I know people, for instance, who, when they were pregnant, set up Facebook profiles for their unborn child. That they're starting a social media shadow, a digital shadow, if you will, of a child that hasn't even been born yet, and it will follow them throughout their life. So there's a lot of things to think about in terms of the long-term implications of having your entire life and having that digital shadow follow you. Do you really want things from when you were 13 years old being out there accessible online, as a 20-something adult looking for a job?
When looking at the gap itself and trying to close that, I think it just comes from awareness. That we don't want our kids to think that we are so far gone that we don't understand what they're doing, but also we don't want to be the ones who are trolling through their profile all the time.
I see them using social media as their PR person. They put on the pictures that they feel are going to somehow enhance that image that they want to portray. There are certain effects of the use of social media or the use of cell phones that I think is really negative for many young people. They definitely, I know with my children, that phone is nearby. Even when it's plugged in at night to recharge, it is right beside them. But I can't imagine that it's healthy for them, that they need to be so connected to their peers that they need to sleep with their phones.
When we're looking at a backlit device, so phones can't light themselves, tablets can't light themselves, this artificial light messes with our bodies. So when we have kids who are going to bed with their phones or their iPods or their tablets or have a TV in their room or a gaming console, and so then they're engaging in sometimes interactive media, not just passive media, which would be more like listening to music. Whereas when it's interactive, when you're texting all through the night up until you go to bed, actually within 2 hours of going to bed, if you consume media through a backlit device, you're actually suppressing your melatonin by 22%. So when you do that, you then run the risk of not having a full, deep, good night's sleep. So then you're more likely to hear your phone go off in the middle of the night, to wake up, to check it. And when you check it, you do wake yourself up. So then you have difficulty falling asleep again. And then when you're forced to get up in the morning to go to school or to go to work, you're exhausted. So then by not unplugging at night or not setting one's phone elsewhere in like a family docking station, you are giving 100% of your day away. When looking at those users who are just starting to use social media, I would say play. But don't play in public. And think before you post, because I can guarantee I'll find you. And if you think that's creepy, it can take me 10 minutes to find you, find out something about you. And I'm a trustworthy person. So imagine if someone, a complete stranger, wants to find out more about you, when you post too much, they can.